I just need to make sure.
Echo off.
Can you say something, Sam, so we can test the
Yeah,
computer?
sure. Hello, everyone.
There you are.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry you can't see
So
me
I think
because the stream. Otherwise, the streaming quality might get compromised. So I would rather you see the software rather than my beautiful face.
right, and I turned ours off as well, so we have more bandwidth. So yeah,
Sure.
you just go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so I am Sam. I am the co-founder of Baking IT or Baking It, whatever you want to call it. So I'm the IT part of the Baking IT, and my wife, she happens to be a baker. So we started this about 7 years ago now, when my wife was running pretty much like what you guys are trying to do, a small home-based baking business, pretty successful initially, but then of course as she tried to scale, there were lots of problems in terms of administration, not with the baking part, but with the administration part. And the wasn't happy, because then I said, and I had to step in to do all the calculations, and which I was happy to do, but there was a lot of involvement. And I was like, are you sure you are doing baking rather than, I see you all the time doing admin, Excel sheets, pricing. So that's where the thought came from. So we created Baking It out of that. And it's honestly been a hell of a journey, totally based on feedback from the baking community worldwide. And when I say worldwide, it's truly worldwide, right? We have a lot of Canadian customers, American, of course, British customers, and right actually to sub-Saharan African countries that even I didn't hear of, I mean, before they joined us. And there are some different scenarios that we cater to. So yeah, so that's why we created Baking It. And the takeaway I want you guys to take, especially with Scott and the Lambert Academy, obviously, doing a great job explaining to you the nitty-gritties of how to run a business. So think of our website like a workbook of what you learn. You can actually practically input stuff and hopefully, see it in action, which I'll demonstrate as we go along, what I mean by it. Also, one more thing I would want you guys to kind of pay attention to is that the fact that you don't need to use 100% of the software. The reason being, it's actually catering to the whole world, literally. And some of the things might not be directly relevant to you. So it's there, but you might not need it, which is fine, right? Better than the other way around, I guess. So yeah, I will get started, I guess. Yeah, I guess what I did was I set up the account exactly like you guys have, with the same stuff, the edible supplies, ingredients, so that at least there's some familiarity when you see the screens. So the things that you focus on initially when you start your business is, so what I'll try to do is actually not just being self-centered about baking it, and try to share my experiences that I have had with speaking to over 1,000 cake businesses like yourself. So how they use the software and the ideas and tips and tricks that I gain from that, which might help you in your business journey when you do it. So the first thing I hear is, oh, hang on a minute, I'm just one person, not really a business. So to answer to that is very simple, right? If you sell for profit, or even with the intention to profit, the volume of sale or the quantity of sale or the amount of sale actually doesn't matter. It's just that you're trying to sell for profit. And so therefore, you like it or not, you are by de facto a business. And we cater to that side of it, like the unglamorous side or the non-sexy side, which is So you guys can focus on, so it might sound cheesy, but we do believe it. Like you bake and we do the rest. So of course we can't bake for you, but apart from that, we'll try to do all the admin stuff. And hopefully if you can, if I'll show you what I mean, hopefully that will be apparent. So the first thing you do is actually think, put on your business hat, like not to be very serious about it, but at the same time, try to say, okay, if I was not doing this, I love baking, I love making people happy, through my, beautiful edible creations. But I also need to respect my time and my effort, and maybe my family's time, who is like, you know, uh, kind of supporting me in doing this. So just to be mindful of all those things. So you need to kind of take a step back and say, okay, let me be serious about this and try to kind of formulate a process so that I can focus on what I like, which is the creativity part, the baking part, and as well as like then, there are some processes already set up so that, the business side doesn't suffer. Yeah. So I guess, I hope you guys can see the screen fine.
Yeah, we can see it great, Sam.
Awesome. So this is the settings. So the settings is the kind of, so the way I wanted to kind of demonstrate the software was actually talk mostly about the benefits for you guys, because every software has features, right? But what is it useful in real world for a real cake business or a real baking business? So if you see here, like, so you have email templates. So like simple things like, if you want to take a deposit for a wedding cake, um, do you want to write that email again and again, right? Can I have my deposit, or thank you for the deposit, can I have my balance? When is a good time to send those emails? So it should not be dependent on which side of the bed you got out from, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what your language style is, your communication style is. It can be informal, but you can just make sure that it's consistent. And most importantly, you're not typing it again and again, because trust me, over time, hopefully if your guys are even moderately successful, it can be a lot of unnecessary admin that you don't want. Secondly, of course, order charges. So simple question, right? What is the cost of your bakery product? Is it the cost of your ingredient? Which, like, it's like saying, okay, here are some paintbrush, here's some paint, and here's a canvas. Paint me a masterpiece. So is that just the cost of that? No. I hope you guys don't think like that, because what you guys are creating is edible art, right? Um, so you have to value your time. So okay, ingredients plus time, right? But is that all? You're not doing for like cost price. That just brings you to cost price. So then, okay, let me add profit. Okay, would you charge for delivery? Maybe. Okay, how much? How is it based on? Like $2 per mile, $3 per mile, some kind of math. Okay, that's great. Then simple things like, do you want to charge the same for decorating a simple cupcake and doing a really elaborate complex wedding cake? So maybe I want to charge slightly more for where skilled decorating is involved. Okay, fair enough. So those kind of questions are answered in labor charges and order charges. Yep. Then you can actually work with the units you are comfortable with. So it's totally generic. You don't have to customize it, because we detect your country and by default set it to defaults. But if you want, you can actually go ahead and fine tune each part. Then you can work with your tins. I guess you have few tins already preloaded in the software. You might have browsed around and seen. You can work with your portion sizes. So for example, I always joke, right? If you cut the cake in half, it will serve 2 people, no matter what the size is. So we don't want that problem. And it's like a polite way of, it's firm and polite, and it's also one of the things that customers do appreciate, like saying, okay, this is the cake, this is the size I ordered, and this is the slicing guide. This is how to cut it. The beauty about the software here is the benefit is that you can define any portion size, like 3.2 into 4.2 inch for all you want, right? And we will generate a slicing guide on the fly for your cake, and which you can of course share with your customer. So last but not least, terms and conditions. So I said, this is again going back to the same philosophy. So we are helping, people working from home or even a small establishment punch way above their weight and put out a professional front. That is our motto, is that only the quality of your baking should be the determining factor, not a fancy store or, all the other trappings of running a business. So you would still have a good professional, you know, digital front, so that the customer feels that they're dealing with a proper company without you having to go through all the pain of actually, doing it. So as part of that, again, terms and conditions are important. We have sample terms and conditions, which is quite comprehensive. Most probably you'll be end up deleting a lot of stuff. In Canada, I checked, digital contracts are binding. So if you send, so the idea is you design the cake or, the order, whatever it is, and then you send it across to the customer with the code. So it's all in one. So if customer gets an email with a PDF file automatically generated for each order. So they will see it
So,
and then say,
Sam, I have a question on that. I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
The,
sure.
with the contracts, do you need to have some kind of like a Adobe digital or DocuSign or anything like that? Or
You can actually,
just
if you want. If you want, you can. But I think if the customer just replies it, also it is legally binding. I'm not too sure, so don't quote me on that, because
right?
each country has
Sure.
specific digital laws. But I think, because the idea is that you send an email with an attachment saying that, okay, this is my drawing. This is, for example, let's say this is my cake. Yeah, this is the cake. And then you say, okay, and the customer then, if it looks vaguely similar to this, they cannot come back and say, you know what, this is nothing like I ordered. And also the price and the terms and conditions are pretty much listed there. The legally binding part, as far as I am aware, just the acknowledgement from the customer from their email should be fine. But if you want to go ahead and get it docu-signed, that's also fine, because for especially for low volumes, it's there are lots of services which are free.
Right. So let me clarify here. I wasn't asking what our country rules were for digital documents. What my question was, so you had mentioned that you send out the contract and the person agrees to it. Right. What you're saying is they're just sending an email back saying, yes, that's okay?
Yes, it's not like we don't send out a DocuSign form to fill, if that's what you ask. Yeah.
That was my question.
We don't have that integration for the good reason, because at volume it costs around $1, $1.50 per sign up, and which most of our customers said, the cost benefit is not that much, right? Because practically you'll hardly take people to court over this, and it can be amicably sorted based on the email, in our experience.
Right. So sorry to take you off. I just wanted to ask about that feature. We don't need to stick with it. We can carry on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, feel free to interrupt, and I mean, that's what this session is for. Yep. So yeah, as I was saying, so the terms and conditions and all are all there. So it's also like, if you go back and say, you know what, read the email dated XYZ date, and I've clearly sent you the email, everything is clearly written there. So it's very difficult for somebody to blatantly, say that, no, that didn't happen. It's there. And I can check on the legality of it, but most probably that should be fine in a small claims dispute where this will lie. This is not going to be a civil litigation over wedding cake. So yeah, it should be fine. But if you can download that terms and that whole PDF and actually upload it to a DocuSign on those kind of things and have it signed if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So country and date we would have picked that by default. I've set it to Canada, for example. Date format, whatever you're comfortable with. So it can customize it to your heart's content. Especially these things: business profile. So business name. I don't have a business name. Okay. So you can't not have a business name. Yeah. It's not like because our software needs to fill it, because we highly recommend you have a business name. Logo, okay, I don't have a logo. Well, there are lots of logo generators. Like you can do logo generator. This is a good logo generator. So it's for Shopify. Yeah. And it's completely free. So this is a useful tip because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We always recommend other services which go well. So this, you can go here. I'll share the link in the chat so that Scott can share with you guys later. So this is one of those things you can use for logo. Pretty neat, I would say. So you can play around. It won't be as good as paid, but I mean, good to start with. Things like, and so as I said, like this is where the workbook nature of the software is coming into play, right? So how do you want it? Like, do you want to appointment only, or you want to business times? What's your address? Any phone numbers? What kind of business you have? Well, if you have any website, are you registered? Would you have any tax number? What kind of delivery information? This is all used throughout the website. Pretty straightforward, I would say, but yeah, just going through it for completeness. Units, as I said, like this is all defaulted. So for example, if you think in centimeters, you can always go ahead and change it. Yep. You see the small question marks. So it's throughout the website. And if you put your mouse above it, so it just explains what we mean by that. We have taken a lot of effort so that you don't contact us. It's not that we don't want to talk to you, but it's sometimes you're busy, you don't want to always contact people. It should be self-sufficient. So we have all this information lying around everywhere, and there are lots more which I'll show. This one as well. So this is with defaults. So suppose you work mostly with wedding cakes, wedding portion sizes. So you default to wedding portion size. That is a good segue to portion sizes. You can have your usual suspects, these ones, and you can even have your custom ones, anything that you want. This is not just gimmicky. As I said, based on this, you can generate custom cutting guides or slicing guides, whatever you call them, and of course share with the customers. So tins and servings, whatever you guys work with, this is what you guys would be seeing. The red is nothing to be alarmed about. Red is saying that you have deviated from what we recommended, which is also fine because we don't have an opinion on it. We just give you a starting point, which is like this one. And then the Lambert guys, they changed it to whatever they thought was more accurate. And of course, other things as well. Sorry? Yes, Lambert girl. Sorry, not guys. Well, I'm trying to stay gender neutral here, but yeah, okay. Right, order charges. So again, this is the whole workbook nature I've been harping on about. Consultation charge. Do you want to charge for consultation? Never thought of that. Okay, right. Think now. Maybe no. Okay. Delivery charge. How much do you want per mile? Say $2. Okay. Postcode or zip code, whatever it is. So I'm used to London zip codes. I'll put that. So setup charge is, oh, I don't understand what setup charge. Okay, go to the question now. Okay, setting up a display for cake or any other. For example, for a wedding cake, you want to set up the whole thing. So if you want to charge for that, you can. Tax, what is your default tax in your province or country, whatever. What's your default deposit? Say 50%. What's the default profit? Say 20%. And suppose you have an existing system, so you can change your starting quote number. If you don't, of course, start with one. Save it. Again, labor charges. So when you guys are starting out, I would say, okay, this is the answer to the question, what do I deserve to get paid minimum for doing this whole thing per hour? That's the price you should start with. Trust me, it's nothing to do with your self-esteem or what do you think you're worth it. It's more like you have to put on, there are two different people here, right? You as a person and the business you're trying to do. So the business is asking you, okay, what am I worth? So I here is the business, not you as an individual, right? So that you have to kind of, it's a strange dichotomy. You have to kind of dissociate yourself from it. So it's a true out of body experience. Anyways, so you can do, so let's say for start with, you say, you know what, I don't know what the minimum wage is in Canada are. So let's say $12 an hour. So 15. Okay. So, okay. So let's say below that is unacceptable. I might as well stack shelf in supermarket. No disrespect to them, but they don't risk getting sued for food poisoning. So slightly, we deserve to get slightly paid more. So start with the flat rate initially, and then as you grow more experience, you say, you know what, I can't be decorating a cupcake and a complex cake for same price. So maybe 20 for scale decoration. Yeah, but not initially. So once you feel the need that your prices are not reflecting the reality, then you can actually fine tune. But you can start with a flat number. Again, the question marks are here to suggest what I mean. Payment options. So I would recommend this one. Most of you might have PayPal account. So if you have a PayPal account, you can create a free paypal.me link like we have done here. So nothing special here to do. Go to PayPal and you can create paypal.me after logging in. So this part, you'll get a unique one to you and you can share it. So like, for example, you can share this and people can pay you directly from here. So let's say you want to pay $20, whatever, next, you can do that. So you can put it here. Yep. Of course, you can pay in cash or whatever. So this is useful when you send a quote, whatever you're comfortable doing. Terms and conditions, these are the sample ones. So I cannot strongly recommend enough to please modify it because it's quite generic. Equipment hire, if you're giving for, if you give equipment for hire, especially for wedding cakes and all. So whatever your conditions are. So this is just, it took us like a couple of weeks to come up with this. It's a lot of work here, but I'll still recommend you guys go ahead and edit it. So most of us use like Amazon and all. So what we did was we took the same philosophy of an order, like each for example, each Amazon order has steps, right? Order placed, dispatching, out for delivery, arriving, and then order complete. And then if you have a refund, then refund initiated and refund completed. So that's a typical Amazon order steps for a single order. So what we did was we took the same philosophy and applied it to a baking business. So everything starts with sending quote. So maybe I'll show it where in the correct place. So everything starts with sending quote. And then you have, I'll show you that diagram, I guess that will help better. Okay, so we don't have a quote as yet. Okay, so I'll use this. So everything starts with sending quote, then you might want a deposit or not. So based on if you want a deposit, then you have a deposit request, or if you want a direct full payment, you have a full payment. Then if you're getting a deposit, then you might want to request for balance at some point. Similarly, if there is order delivery, you want to send a reminder of a collection, or if there is an order cancelled, if you want to give a refund or not give a refund. So for each of these scenarios, you would find yourself sending emails, right? So what we have done is just can those emails. So these are like canned responses. So you just write it once. We have written pretty simple vanilla language. You can write anything that you want, which suits your communication style. So for example, there's nothing stopping you from including your payment details here as well, right? Like I've done here. So this will be part of the email body that's sent with the code, which I'll demonstrate. So this itself will save you a lot of time and energy, and it will ensure consistency of language communicating with all the clients. It will seem like it's coming from a professional enterprise, and you don't have to make it dull. That's my tip, is like make sure it still reflects your personality or the way you want to represent yourself. So by all means, of course, go ahead and modify it to whatever language you want. Watermark is pretty neat. So you can actually add any watermark. So let's say, I'm not able to come up with a name. Okay, let's do this one. So you can either have a text or you can have your logo. It come across here. So whatever you want. If you don't have a logo, you can just use text. Where do you want it? It's quite customizable. So if you want a big size, small opacity, you want it lighter, you don't want it interfering. With this kind of things, I will not recommend. If you're having a watermark, I would recommend it to be on the cake. The reason being, if you spend a lot of time designing a wedding cake, and at least that is a moral deterrent for the customer not taking it to the next cake maker and saying, can you do this design for $100 less or something. Trust me, it happens. We have had customers complain, but of course, that's at least it is a moral deterrent saying this is somebody else's design. Well, that's what watermarks are for. You can actually play around whatever you want. It's quite a lot. And this is like, we could have charged this as an individual tool and all, but we don't believe in gimmicks. So just there as an aside. Any questions so far? Okay.
Good explanation.
Okay, no worries. Next is, so the software is organized into 3 sections. So there is your kitchen section, and then you have your recipes, you have your bakery products, and you have cakes also, which is a bakery product, but because it has a 3D cake designer, we gave it a separate section. So these 4 sections, this will be a majority of your setup time when you're setting up your system here. But by the time you guys are finished with the course at Lambert, I'm sure most of the job will be done. And then most of the time you'll be spending in the business section, which is of course. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, please.
We had an issue where, what was the item we were trying to change? Butter. So on my tablet, so I have the master and the girls have an account that it's been copied over. We couldn't change, so the eggs is wrong. We could not change it to the right number. Not eggs, butter, unsalted butter. We couldn't change it. So it was correct on mine, but trying to implement the right number, it wouldn't take 0.004 or 0094. It wouldn't take it. We put in 0, and then as soon as you put the point in, it just stayed there, and then it turned it into 9. So every time they put butter in their recipe, that part of the recipe cost like $90 or more.
Or when you do it in the recipe section, not okay. Okay, I can. I mean, I can take it.
We were just trying to
offline.
edit.
Yeah.
It wasn't editing on theirs.
Editing in the
It wasn't-
recipe, you mean?
No, we were trying to edit in the ingredient because the number was wrong in unsalted butter.
Okay.
It said it was $94 a pound. It's actually 0.094 gram or something like that.
So cost per unit is 4.29 per gram, right? Which doesn't
No,
seem
no,
right.
it's 4.29 per pound.
Yeah.
$4.29 a pound.
Okay.
But
So
we weren't able to fix it. So where it says units and it's in grams, that 1 gram is point. Does anybody have their?
no, I understand. This thing is wrong. See, this thing is wrong. You mean?
0.0094.
Yeah. So
This-
so the gram
this
this
particular
4.29.
entry, yeah. So this, what we can do is, so this should be
Well, what was
around.
happening was it wasn't taking the edit.
Yeah. Okay. Let me check on that. What you can do actually is, where is unsalted butter? Okay.
So what we've done is removed it and put in a new one, and it still wouldn't take the number.
So if you want to change the number, you can actually. So how much do you want it to be?
0.0094.
0.0094 per gram, right?
Yes.
Yes.
0.0094 per gram. Okay. So that's $9.4 per kilogram. Okay. So what I did was, so I added 1 more kg at the correct price. Yeah. So how it works is takes the average, and once the quantity is entered, it mostly does not allow to edit. But you can take. We are mixing things here, but you can actually do this like so. But I'll have a look why it didn't do it in the first place. Yep.
Okay.
Is this
So once it's
is this closer to? So like this is like 0.014 per gram.
So we can't do it per gram.
So do you
Like
want per kg?
No, I want it per gram. So the unit is in grams, and I want 1 gram to be 0.0094.
Oh, right. No, it doesn't take it. The minimum is point. We have rounded it off to 2 decimal places. So basically, we are saying 1 cent is the minimum.
Okay, so you have to do it in a larger quantity.
Yeah, if you wanted more precision, so of course you can do larger quantity. But in this case, like for example, here it's showing like 1 cent per gram. Yeah, is it making sense?
Got you.
Yeah.
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 So we'll have to figure out how to. Why does it work on mine? So on mine, the master, it works fine.
I'm not sure. Maybe something in the copying, something got corrupted. But what? Okay, we're digressing here, but I'll quickly tell you how it works. So
Yes.
so you see these blue numbers. These are like default placeholder quantities, right? Placeholder price. So basically, the way the software works is you don't have to do inventory management. So because initially when you're starting out, that's the feedback we got a lot, that I don't want to measure each gram, how much gram is remaining, or what's the quantity remaining in my inventory. I just want to price. So for that particular scenario, you can actually write a generic price, like say 1 ml of evaporated milk is 1 cent, something like that. And doesn't matter if you bought it like slightly more expensive or cheaper every time, but you're saying, I want this as the standard price. I don't want to track it. But if you do want to track it, so what you can do is, say you went to shopping and you say, I bought these 4 things. Then you add your stock and expense and say, this is literally from your grocery list. So say I bought like 100 grams of this for $2, those kind of things, so on and so forth. So what we will do is then take these values and put it here. So let's take evaporated milk as an example. So this is 100 grams for $2. So that's 2 cents. Yeah. So if you see here, now it's black meaning it's real prices. And that means you have some inventory against it. So if you click here, you can see the inventory, which we just added. But if I go back and if I click the blue ones, this one, they should have no inventory because it has a quote unquote placeholder price, which you can use throughout. So what I'll recommend is you have a placeholder price to start with. And if you want to do then later stock and expense and shopping list, you can then do add this. These 3 things are our inventory management module, which is the software is made such a way that you can choose not to use it as well, like by having a placeholder price. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, please feel free to interrupt me if I'm not making sense. But because some of some of our customers gave us feedback, because initially we did not have placeholder price, and we thought everybody would want to manage inventory and all. But then said the feedback we got was like it throughout the time and in real life it became like too much to do for people. For like when you get your every time that you shop, if you don't enter your kitchen stock and expense, then you have like incorrect values, right? So if you're not like kind of disciplined about this, then you don't have correct quantities, then you don't know what's missing, and if you're not adding wastages, then also you don't have correct quantities, right? uh, but if you wanted, you can use it. So I'll just show you how it works. So you can add items from the master list, which the black items are from a master list. The green items are the ones which we did not have, like beets frozen we did not have, which then was added like manually. So for example, you can go to master list. This is how all the 4 items work: ingredients, edible, non-edible. So you go to master list and you say, you know what is the category? Okay, let's say beverage and spirits. I want to bake something with coffee. What's my default unit? Maybe grams. Okay, then I can say, okay, anything else? Maybe vodka. Okay, so you see these 2 are added here, and this will have a default placeholder price, which you might not agree with, and then you can go ahead. Oops, too much trigger happy. Okay, you can go ahead and edit it and change it to whatever the unit you want. So vodka is like what is it, liters? 60 per liter. That's too expensive, right? 40, 30. Okay, 30. Then you say inventory reorder quantity. So if you want to use inventory management, and if you are like disciplined about it, then you say, you know what, I don't want it to go below this number. As soon as it goes below this number, sorry, did you ask me? Okay, maybe there was some static. So inventory reorder quantity is the quantity. If you say if it goes below this number, then I want it automatically to add it to shopping list. So it will automatically come here if it goes below this number. Yep. So let's say, let's think in grams, or sorry, milliliters. And okay, so let's say if it goes below 100 milliliters, I want it added to shopping list. Yep. So that's where the concept of wastages comes in. So if you think about it, there is only two way to use anything, right? In ingredients or edible, non-edible supplies. Either you use it, which is the positive case, or unfortunately it expires, or you drop it, or you waste it, or you lose it. So that's the wastage part. So
Question for you.
sorry.
Just a quick question. In your ingredients, you can delete whatever ingredients are in there if they're never going to be in your kitchen, right? You can just delete them so they're not on your list anymore.
Yes, you can. I mean, for example, I just added these two. You can delete those. So if you added it from the master list, it will go back to the master list. Yeah. So for example, if I see here, came back here, vodka. So the short answer is yes. You can. Sorry, you can delete whatever you want as long as you're not using it in somewhere else. So as a safety check, we don't allow you to delete those. For example, if you accidentally try to delete like unsalted butter, right, which is used in like 20 recipes, we will not allow you to delete it. Make sense?
Because
Yeah.
it's in your recipe section.
Yeah. And sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So so that software, like it's quite powerful in that sense. Like it tries to second guess what might be a good scenario. Like for example, you could have allowed deleting everything, then it might be counterproductive, right? If you delete unsalted butter, all your recipes go corrupt. So we didn't allow you to do that. So yeah, you can add from master list to your list, and if you delete, it goes back to master list. Or you can say, you know what, I can't find it, like, so my special ingredient. So we'll say, okay, what, we looked and you don't have it in our master list. Okay, you can go ahead and add it in beverages. You can actually write your own quantities. Also, I'll encourage you to fill this information, especially nowadays. There's a lot of stress on organic, vegan stuff. So you can actually use this, and this will be useful when you filter. You can search by, like, say, just vegan recipes, vegan ingredients, for example. Yep. Yep. So it works similarly. All these things: print, delete, wastages. Same with edible supplies. By the way, we have this. This is very important. So if you don't even remember anything I said, please try to remember this. So this is like step-by-step guided tools. So you say, you know what, Sam told us how to add from master list. I don't remember any of it. Like, no worries. You can just click on our autoplay tools. So this is like an inbuilt kind of step-by-step guide. So if you say add edible surprise from master list, so just click on it. So I'm not even doing anything. It just auto plays. It will show you exactly what needs to be done. If only it could speak, I could stop speaking as well. But you see the point, right? It's not like the information is lost. You can revisit it again and see it again. And this is not added to your system. This is it's just simulating. And you can then play it again. Or if you want to work along, you can actually use the upper section. So this will wait for you to click. Okay, click. Oh, next. Okay, now do this, something like that. Yep. It's with every section. So we have worked a lot, very hard for this. So you can actually actually see this and go ahead and do it. General. Of course, we're always here uh, to help, and the help documents are here. But this is also here. This is kind of a first point of contact. So yeah, it works the same way. Edible supplies. If you see the master list, it's very comprehensive. We like to think so because this took us like 3-4 months to do initially. So candy melts, all your usual suspects, edible confetti. These are all categories, and you have everything that you could possibly want. Non-edible supplies, same. So you see here, you have all the usual suspects and more. Of course, there would be stuff that we don't have. For that, you can add your own custom. But your initial point of contact is just use these. And you say it's too much work, but it's just one time. You say, okay, bag, what kind of bags you have? Okay, baking cups, plain. So you can add it in bulk, and then once you're done, you're done. Then you can actually set up a quantity price for that, price per unit. And as you can see, most of the units we've added is with placeholder prices, which will serve you in good stead. And yeah, you don't have to use the inventory management. I will not recommend initially using the inventory management because doing the business anyways is a lot of other steps going on. But if you want to, of course, it's there, and as I've demonstrated how to use it. Okay, so next is so you have your stuff or the inventory or the pantry, whatever you call it, in the kitchen section. So many ingredients make a recipe. Let's say recipe. So what do recipe do? Okay, in precise ingredient costs, preparation and baking cost are included in the recipe. You can convert between recipes. This is pretty powerful. So let's say, Canada is quite multicultural. So if you're catering to something very exotic, you can actually go ahead and find those special recipes and actually convert it. So suppose you are catering to some, to an Indian family. So you want to, they have some specific requirements. You can go ahead and browse Indian websites for some baking recipes. Don't have much baking culture, but there are some specific things that there are, as with any country. So then you go ahead and enter those, and then I'll show you how easy it is to convert. So you click on the recipe, so you can multiply, like say, this is how to scale. How simple is this? Divide, half, third. Well, yeah, I can use it in a calculator. Well, yes, you can always walk as well, right? I mean, why use a car? So yeah, it will help you a lot, especially this part, convert recipes. So of course, everything here reads okay because Canadian cups, we all understand. But what if it is in, say, Imperial? Yep. So we don't understand that. Just by clicking one button, I'm able to convert. How powerful is this? This was the original thing. Australian cups, US cups, just one click. So this, what is the practical significance of this? That means you can actually buy any recipe book, go to any website and enter the recipe as you found it, and then convert it to the units you understand. So literally the world is your oyster. You can actually use any recipe safe in the knowledge that will be converted well. How do we do it? It's based on weight and volume ratio. So this part, especially the ingredients. So that's the advantage of using the master list, because we have, for master list, we have all these weight to volume conversions. But if you add your own stuff, of course, we don't know what is the weight to volume. So like, what is the 1 cup for evaporated milk? We know this because it's in our master list. But if you add it, then you have to enter it, which is, of course, we can't help it. Yep. So this is converting is pretty cool. We're pretty proud of it. We'd like to think it is the most comprehensive converter you'll find. I mean, period. That's not bragging. That's literally, we actually looked at all the existing ones, including paprika, everything, and then made our own. This is just organization. So another tip is, okay, you say, you know what, I'd never do macarons. Yeah, but what if you're getting a big wedding cake order and they want you to do macarons? You're not going to look around for recipes at the last moment, right? And you're not going to refuse whatever $1,500 order just because they wanted some macarons also. So for that, please keep your recipes ready, even if you don't use it. We don't have any limits. Of course, if you have like 10,000 recipes, definitely we need to talk. But other than that, I mean, for most, we never had anyone who had crossed our limits. We don't have any official limits, but we only have like, just don't abuse the system. It's for everyone. So yeah, just organize it, cookies, recipes, and yep, as you can see, it's already filled up. So you guys have a great starting point. You already have all the recipes in place. Cake
Can I ask
recipe.
another question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure, yeah, go ahead.
Is this information backed up anywhere? Like if you took your time to go through and input all of your information and all this stuff for your own business,
Yep.
and say the site was to crash, is this information saved anywhere so that if the site comes back up, that all of that time and work and effort that you put into building it is safe?
Absolutely. So we use Amazon, same as Amazon, of course, AWS. So it is backed up hourly, and yeah, that's it. It's backed up hourly. So if it goes down, you lose 1 hour's work, and of course we will find out. We get a email that your website has gone down. See, website going down and complete data going kaput are two different things, right? Website might go down. Our up rate is around, it's at par with, Facebook, honestly. It's 99.5% plus, which is pretty high. Yeah, it's pretty high. So we don't go down. But see, website might go down for like maintenance if you're doing a release, but that will be like, hours and not days. Rarely, it just happened once in 5 years. We had a major release going on, so yeah, we took down the whole website for a couple of days. But yeah, but to answer your specific question, yes, the data is backed up hourly, so you lose maximum 1 hour data.
Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, and it is backed independent of where the website resides. So it's not like one thing crashed and everything is deleted. It has got a kind of a redundancy. Yep. My background is in IT, so like, yeah, I've spent like 20 years doing this. So I this is kind of my dream project. So it created. So we put in all latest technologies, everything into it. So yeah, it's there. Okay, so let's quickly look at a recipe. So cake recipes are the most comprehensive. Yep. So you can look at this. As you can see, there are 4 options here. You do, at the start, if you remember, I said like there are lots of features, but you don't have to use all of them. So like, for example, if you think your recipe is by cake tin volumes, just stick to that. You don't have to use it by batter, because as some of our American customers, they do, or by servings as most of the people other places do. But it also is an advantage, like if you are importing a foreign recipe, you can actually choose any of it based on whatever options you have. So like this recipe, for example, has been entered cakes by tins. You just enter. This, for example, 30 minutes it takes preparation. This is how useful it is. Preparation time, you see here, labor charges. You say $15 per hour. Okay. Half an hour. Okay. $7.50. This is how you calculate, right? Ingredient cost is this much. Pretty straightforward. Yeah. plus preparation cost plus this. This is the recipe cost. Again, this is the cost price of the recipe. This will at best. So he said, you know what, hang on a minute, I'm already earning this much for working. I said, no, this is nothing to do with the business, right? This is just your time. That's what he said. Like, just don't view your time only as the, I mean, you're not doing this just to earn the minimum wages, right? But yes, this is, we've used this as the, so let's call this the friends and family price, right? Not this. Typically what they say, this is the friends and family price. I would say, no, this is the friends and family price because this is your time, right? Anyways, it's your choice, but we recommend this even for friends and family. So you're not charging them profit and delivery. Yep, that's fair enough. But you're charging for time. But that's just a recommendation, of course. Also, other things is like, so suppose you say, you know what, mine is a carrot cake, but then with like sugar-free alternatives for, say, people who are diabetic. Click here, just duplicate it. So it's similar, not the same. So you can say, okay, and then you change one or two. Okay, you just add evaporated milk, for example. One more cool tip is, if you want to enter a recipe, you can just start entering recipes. So even if you don't have ingredients there, we will look at all the ingredients added and make sure they end up in your ingredient list, even though they were not there. So that's pretty kind of time saving, right? You can just keep entering recipes, and all the ingredients that were in all your recipes are guaranteed to be in your ingredients list. Then you just go ahead here and make sure this cost per unit is correct for your pricing. That's also a time saver. So this is, of course, you can do the traditional way of doing it ingredients and then going to recipe, or you can just do recipes and then it will be there automatically. Of course, wastage. So this is where the inventory management. So we are not just a Excel sheet kind of thing. By Excel sheet, I mean, we just don't add up stuff and they say, you know what, I can do this in Excel sheet. Well, yes, but some things you can't do. Like, for example, if you can make a recipe wastage as well. I'll give you an example, right? Eggs expire, right? Or you drop the eggs. So you just dropped it. So the whole like 3-4 eggs are on the floor. So how do you account for those? That's the wastage. So you can go here, say, okay, let's say whatever, chia seeds, wastage. There is no inventory, of course, but you get the point, right? If there is, so this has inventory, I can waste this. Okay, so it goes to wastage, and we have the wastage reason if you want. So, but this is all in inventory management. But you can also waste a recipe. So how do you waste a recipe? I mean, what is the practical scenario? Well, you're baking multi-tiered cakes. One of the tier is not turned out good, right? Possible. I mean, even though we're all experienced bakers, but accidents happen. You are not concentrating, or you got a phone call, whatever, and that particular cake didn't bake well. You're not going to sell it, but then you just check it in the bin. But are you accounting for it? So that's where the whole philosophy comes from. So you can actually waste a recipe, and we will take into account everything that went into it, their price and everything, and it goes into wastage. So that's also there. Initially, again, even though I'm showing you all the features, but I would not recommend it initially, because you want to establish your business first and then fine tune it, not the other way around. Otherwise, it can get overwhelming. Just a tip, but yeah, it's your choice. Okay, any questions so far?
Nope.
Okay, so next is again same with equipment, ingredients, non-edible tins. We've covered all that. Cakes. Oops. Okay, recipes. Okay, maybe I should close few tabs to make it manageable. Okay, so right, so we have products. So one of the questions we get asked a lot is, what is products? Didn't I already cover everything in recipe? I mean, why are you confusing? Right? You're supposed to help, not confuse. Fair point. But let's take a simple, humble cupcake as an example, right? Is it really a recipe? Well, we would argue it's not. Allow me to explain myself. So we have a cupcake base, which is the raw cupcake. We have a covering recipe. So there are two different recipes, right? You don't bake it at the same time. You don't bake your covering. Then you might have an edible supply on the top, whatever, cherry on the top. Then you're not going to sell naked cupcakes. I mean, if they ask for it, fine. Customers ask for it, you might, but most probably you're not. You'll have a cupcake wrapper, which is again a non-edible supply. Then you would say they asked for 12, you would not going to hand out one by one. You would have give them in a cupcake box, which is again a non-edible supply. Most probably a carry bag and your visiting card. So you see where I'm going with this, right? So we're saying, what happened to all those costs? So what we say is a product is all these things combined and costed. So basically, in simple words, it is what you're actually selling to your customer. So whatever you're handing out to customer at the end is a bakery product. So cupcake example, just I showed like recipes. It has a cupcake recipe, covering recipe, any edible supply, any decorations. Then you add your additional labor costs like decorating and all that I showed in settings. Then you reach a cost price of the product. So let's say cupcake, hopefully there are some, no, okay. Okay, we have cakes only, fine. Cakes are also products, but they are the most complex ones and they have the cake designer. So that's why we have this separately. Again, you can always duplicate the cakes as well. There's also a very cool filter feature. So you can say, okay, I want cakes more than 100 servings. Okay, these cakes are more than 100 servings. This is what we call the demo mode or the consultation view. So if you can actually show it on your laptop or your tablet to your customers. This is like your virtual album. This is what I've done so far. And the customer might say, you know what, I like this one. This is a good starting point. Let's build on this one. I say, okay, click duplicate. Not starting from scratch, right? So this is the advantage of an album. Of course, when you start, everything will be blank or not. So there's another one cool tip. So see, it's all limited by what you think you can do, right? Well, it sounds cheesy, but what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to physically bake the cake to make it digitally, right? So you can actually go ahead and say, let me just design a cake. So let's say for 100 people, wedding size. Okay, show combinations. Wow, okay, typical demo problem. Okay, yeah, thankfully. So say 3-tier, maybe this is a good one. Okay, so this is, if you knew what you were doing, so then you can directly add one by one. You can still modify it, add dummy tiers, drag them. See, okay, 9, 6, maybe this should be 4. Dummy has no servings, of course. Some brides and grooms, they want to exclude top tier. You can do that as well. So this reduces. You can add fillers, what kind of fillers you want. So basically, you can actually design a full cake like so without actually physically baking it. So what's the advantage? Well, you can actually run a full Instagram account just by doing virtual cakes. Develop a fan following, and I say, you know what? I have seen this account. I follow them, and whenever I need a wedding cake or I can recommend to my friend who's going to get married, so say she does or he does great cakes. Why don't you check them out and ask for a quote. Yeah, of course, I don't need to explain to you the benefits of social media, but the thing is, it's not very apparent to people like, oh, I can use it like this. Just share. There's nothing stopping you from downloading this image. Just download, see, and share it on social media. Well, not this Baron, but you can actually go ahead and, you know, do your favorite colors. Well, not very nice color, but see, I'm very aesthetically challenged, so I'm sure you guys can do a I can just demonstrate the features, but I'm sure you guys can do a much better job. This is really ugly even by my standards, but okay. So you can do this, you can add gradients. It's incredibly powerful. I say I can do it by hand. Well, not really, not to this precision, right? You can actually change your mind, and then you can say, you know what, I don't like the gradient. Fine, you can remove it. You can add multiple layers. So for example, you want to say, you know what, I want naked effect. So see how easy it is to do a rainbow cake. Okay, eventually it will show up. Yeah. You see, if I zoom in, you see how realistic is this? It's a 3D cake.
Mhm.
Okay, the view is all distorted, so you can just do reset. This is like Photoshop for cakes, right? It just saves you a lot of time. So, but one of the coolest uses actually to send quotes and social media. Social media is not very apparent, but you should use it. I said, you know what? So basically, you design your cake. You design the structure of the cake here. Once you're happy with it, you have a structure. Then you select the tiers. You see the box. One of our customers created an awesome YouTube video. It's like a half an hour video, and she explained it way better than. And she was a cake decorator from Netherlands, Holland. So she used it. She demoed it wonderfully. So I'll share that YouTube link on the chat, and then Scott can share with you guys as well. But I'll just show you the basics. So you can select any tier, anything. Basically, anything that you can click is selectable, as you can see by the box. And then you can apply any of these palettes to it, these things. Like if you want to effect, so if you want a buttercream effect, so how easy is this? Different type of buttercreams as well. Whatever you think is.
Mm.
And you say, you know what? None of this is like appealing to me. I have completely different requirements. Okay, so say this is how cool is this? You can actually combine stuff. So you say drip effect, and then you also want buttercream. Or maybe in the wrong sequence actually. So first you want, of course, the buttercream. Then you click the next layer, and then you say drip. So it's buttercream with drip. You can actually change the color of the drip itself. Oops, wrong clicking. So because I clicked buttercream, right? That's why it changed buttercream. So if you click drip and then say change, well, it's the Halloween cake then. But yeah, waffle effect, whatever, right? So, and it's quite realistic, see, photorealistic. It's quite easy to be seduced into thinking, oh, can I do this, that? Yes, but I would ask you to take a step back and think, why are you doing all this? To just get a quote out, right? So don't get seduced by the whole, it's not able to do this, not able to do that, or the other way around. Oh, it's cool, let me spend hours on it. In fact, our aim is that you spend minimum time on it, and most time sending out the quote ASAP, so that you can actually get more orders and those kind of things, or watch Netflix and chill, whatever. So we don't have everything covered, which we possibly can't have. So we have a lot, as you can see, but there's no way we can cope up with, ever changing world. So You can add anything, simple rule, anything 2-dimensional, you can add your own. So add custom, you can add your own image, PNG image, fitting all this criteria, and you can apply it as a texture here, any image. That makes it like infinitely extendable. You have flowers. Let me just reset this to be something semi-decent. You can save your favorite colors here, by the way. So click on the box. Oops. Okay, for some reason it's not doing it, but you can save your favorite colors here, and so that, because otherwise you can just go crazy, right? You should be able to replicate it as well in real life. So you have flowers here as well. So you have all your usual suspects. We have around 30 flowers, and these are 3D flowers, by the way. So let's say peony, rose, or blossom. Okay, let's say blossom. Okay, so here's a blossom flower. It's a 3D flower. See, I was really proud of these flowers. It's quite photorealistic. So what you can do is actually, this is how you can do a consultation, right? Say, say how many flowers do you want? Do you want it here, that? Okay. Then you say you want a cascade. Okay, just click on the item, then duplicate. So this becomes like a stamp. So you can just click, 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 click. And it is also surface aware. By that I mean, here it is flat, so it will go flat. See, it's a lot of work, trust me. So, but yeah, so then you find a correct angle, and then say this is just the 3D design. This itself is worth the price of the admission, but we wanted an all-in-one software. You have multiple leaves, all these leaves. You can, there's also one, oh, you don't have to stick with this color. Anything that you can select, you can change the color. Incredibly expandable. You say, I don't like the size. So you can find, this is for fine tuning, this toolbar. So you say, okay, a smaller size. I don't like the angle. So you can say, rotate it. Click here. Okay. Oops. Okay, yeah. Yeah, now you can actually rotate it. So it rotates in 3 dimension, but yeah, so, but you can rotate it. Now you say, you know what, I don't like all the other flowers now. I want this size. Fine. Click, erase. This one. Or if you want to independently erase, then you can do this. Now if you want this, so it will remember the shape and size, and will duplicate your shape and size and color. It's quite smart in that sense. Yep. 3D decorations, bows, nauticals, sweets. You have all the stuff here. Let me go to list again. So if you just go back, it will kind of save as draft. Name already exists, of course. But you can use, okay, fine. Let me refresh it. Okay, some problem with this. So yeah, you can have all these cakes here. And so if you open an existing one like this one, it will load up the current one. There are other stuff as well. Like for example, you have borders, all the usual borders are here, drops, you name it, gold leaves, silver leaf fences, but you can again add your own. 2D decorations, you can add your own. This is pretty cool. So what you can do is select the tier. So this is, for example, a combined tier. See, there are two of them. This one. We can actually merge them and ask the, see this, because they're of same shape and size, you can merge them. So now it becomes one tier. Yeah, of course, it's based on real life. So there's no way you are going to bake a 8-inch high cake, right? So that's why it's limited to 4 inches, 5 inches. But you can combine them as you do in real life. So say if you want a pattern, so say you want polka dot, so you just say dot. Again, same, change the color to whatever you want. Oops, okay. Then say I want a pattern. How easy is this? How many rows do you want? 5, maybe more actually, 10. Then you can say, oh, it's going above. Let me fit to tier. Nice. I want alignment to be fish scale, like zigzag. Okay, again fit to tier. That's it. You have polka dots. You want to change color? Simple. Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. So you can do that. So like stripe cakes, just click pattern stripes. Horizontal spacing, maybe more. Yeah. Okay. You see that is still here. The border. You can just delete that and then bring it in the front. Border like so. Yep. Then you say it is infinitely customizable. So you can say, okay, change the color, increase the size. See, it's thickening. This is reducing. And say you want to same border at all the places. Okay, duplicate again. Click. Okay, duplicate. See. Click again. Duplicate. So if you want the same thing, it's quite easy to do, right? Everywhere. Any image you can upload as well, your own image. It's good for cake toppers because cake toppers are infinite, right? So you can go this to add to top. Yep. Yeah, you can actually add the image on the side as well if you want. You have ribbons. Again, you can anything two-dimensional. You can add your own borders, ribbons, effects. As you can see, all of them here. You can even add your own custom thing and apply it as a pattern, like this polka dot. This can be an image as well. This small thing, any pattern that you want, and then replicate it as a pattern. So this makes it incredibly powerful. Stencil, laces. Again, you can add your own customs. 3D patterns, like this is ruffles. This is created using this. You can have reverse ruffles, spoon. There's so many swirls. Of course, then there will be times that you will not be able to create cakes that you want using us. So in that case, at least you can create a basic structure and then download it, print it, and then draw on it. So it'll still, worst comes to worst, it will save you at least 50-60% of your drawing time. The idea is to, don't make best the enemy of better. So at least you can able to do something to reduce time. Our aim is that you go and minimize your time in non-baking stuff, which you, of course, most probably don't enjoy as much. Yeah. Then, of course, there's a whole sketcher section. So basically, if you're happy with whatever, so say, you know what, I did whatever I could here. There's more stuff I need to do. So either you can download it and use it on your favorite sketching software, this as a starting point, or you can use our simple sketcher. So if you have simple needs, I'll recommend you use this. Of course, you can't use mouse. You can use, but then the results will be pathetic. So you can draw any pattern, like this, for example. This is just very embarrassing, but anyways. So yeah, so if you draw any pattern, so just to illustrate the point, so yeah, big deal. Actually, yes, because once you draw, you can actually then rotate any of your drawings. Yeah, which is cool. You can't do that by real hand. You can stretch it. And here's the cool part. You can actually duplicate it, hand-drawn stuff. So that makes it like if you draw something complex and it's complex pattern, you can have it on multiple places. Yeah, I guess you guys get the point, but this is not looking very pretty. But imagine this to be intricate hand-drawn design, which you are able to duplicate. It saves you a lot of time. And we try to make it quite realistic to how people write, cake drawings. So like you have arrows, then you have some text. Well, okay. So this is how mostly if you just Google cake sketches, you'll see something like this, right? Hand drawn. So this was our inspiration. We just made sure it's exactly done like that, but digitally. And even choose to have a black and white version, but I will not recommend it. I just have the full. You can download it anytime. Delete as well. So like this, you can delete whatever. And for example, if you're doing a very custom cake that none of this applies, you can just go and image that, upload that image. Simple. Add the notes. If the customer gives you some sample images, I want it exactly like to look like my grandfather, which of course you can't design it here, but you can at least upload the photos here. And this is just the design. Then there's the whole costing part. So how do we know there are 4 tiers? Well, you told us that, right? There are 4 tiers. How do we know this is this structure? Because you told us that. There's one filling. It's quite realistic. So you have three layers. That means you must have 2 fillings, right? How much thickness you want. Some wedding cake venues and some brides even are very pedantic. Fair enough, but you can cater to them. This is how a slice of cake will look like. If they want to know, you can take a screenshot and then share. It's literally a slice of cake. You can actually have coverings as well. See, marzipan. You can have multiple fillings like double layered. I'm sure nobody has asked us to have 3 layers of fillings here. And crumb coats. You guys, of course, I don't need to explain you guys, but yeah, you can do this. Now the cool part is all the recipes that you had, see you have here, like this one I just duplicated, right? So all the recipes come here. The cool part is it's automatically scaled. Carrot cake serves 56, this is the cost. But if I go to actual carrot cake, the recipe serves 24, right? So 24 was 32.59. Okay, but I want 56. Let me take out the calculator. Well, no thanks. This is it. We do the conversion for you based on your context, because this serves 56. How do we know? This was in your cake design. This is where we are adding value by automatically converting. Filling, again, all your filling covering recipes are here, right? We do that. This is automatic filled up, which of course you can override. But we say, okay, this much. How do we know it's 341 grams? Well, based on the size of the cake. We do some complex maths. Well, not complex, just volume calculation. But then we reach this number, which we don't impose. You want to edit it, go ahead and edit it. So you know what? I can do it in 300 grams. Fair enough. Do for 200 if you want. We don't have a preference. It's your cake after all. Wedding ribbon. So this is how much it needed to cover it. This is how it's going to cost. Cost of this tier is this much. Fair enough. Oh, all this for one tier? Well, yes. Tier 2, you say, you know what, I have to do it again. Well, if it's exactly the same, just do same as previous. See, just intelligently copies the structure. Well, I said copy the structure, not exactly the same values. It's still 10 inch because you wanted it to be 10 inch. So we automatically scale it like 38, but the carrot cake is there, but it serves 38 because this tier serves 38. But if you wanted, like, say, for example, top tier to be kind of different recipe, you can go ahead and do that. This is chocolate cake. This is to be, say, taken away by bride and groom. So you can do a different one if they want. This has two portions, right? Tier 4 cake 1, cake 2, because this is a merged tier. So you can so same as above, things like that. So it's a lot of work. Well, yes, but it gives you a lot of precision. If you don't want it, you can always go ahead and choose defaults. But what will happen is over the time, you will have some templates. You'll work out a system how to do it. What people do is create template cakes and then duplicate it, and then it's easy for them to start. So for example, you have like 3 tier 100 servings, you have a standard template for round. Then you duplicate it and then apply the decorations and off you go. Labor costs, again, this is already filled up because it's nicely done, nice. So it costs per hour. This is quite real life values. I guess this is, you might have seen in your workbooks or whatever the classes you were getting. Cost per serving, these kind of things. So this is again, if I may stress, this is the cost price of the cake. Last but not least, you come to the preview. This is where a lot of magic is happening. Namely, we look at all your, it takes 5 to 10 seconds, so be patient, but it might be worth it. I don't want to overpromise. Okay, so you can actually see what the sketch was. Everything is in one place. 3D. So if you're doing a sketch, then don't share the 3D because that's pointless. But then we still show you. This is quite cool, slicing guides. So this is generated for your portion size. This is 1/2, but if it was 3.1 by 4.2 inches, we'll still generate it automatically, which you can share. So based here, this is how to. So you know your customers can't come back and say, you know what, it didn't serve enough people, which is quite a common complaint. Well, at least in our part of the world. But you can. This is kind of a polite but firm, and it's also helpful. We sincerely believe, because you can say, this is how to cut it, right? We're not trying to be preachy and all, but well, this is, if you want it, this is how you can cut it. If not, then of course slice it by half and 2 people can have it. Recipes, so each of the tier, what's the recipe? It's almost probably bake it. Supplies and decorations in one place, all your labor costs, and this is your cool summary sheet. You can share. So say you just want to share 3D cake, slicing guides, and add watermark. This you can actually download. You can email right from here as well. If you want just without the code and all. You just want to send, you know, simple like something like that, whatever. So it will just go. The email will be something like, so for example, say the email is sam@bakingit.com. Yeah. Or let's say sam@example.com. So the email the customer will receive will be like this. Oops. So this will be the from email. But if when the customer replies to this, it will reach the original one. It will come to this email. And then from then on, you can continue the conversation. Because we can't send email from your account, right? So that's why it's done this way. But in this way, you at least you gain full control. Because when customer replies to it, the first reply goes to your email. So that's kind of neat trick.
I have a question.
Yep, sure.
How does that relate, what you're doing right now, emails and quotes, how does that relate to a customer record or a database record of a client?
That is actually here in the code section. So this is just
Is it updated though? Like if I use an email from a client, does it automatically put it into the database that I've done that?
No, because you know, we cannot save your emails. We are not allowed to do that. So we don't save your emails per se, because we send out the first email, and if the because practically if you're going to send a quote, and practically if your customer never replies to it, that's the end of it, right? If they reply to it, then you have a trail anyways in your email box, if that makes sense.
I see. Okay.
Because, you know, that will be the shortest email order otherwise. You send a quote and you get no reply, then that's the only case it will be lost. But that's not anyways practical, right? You will get some kind of reply to your first quote. And then when you get the reply, it's in your inbox, and yeah, it's there for you then. I'll show you. So this is, again, this is how to create and send codes. So this, all the information is here. You can autoplay that. I'll show you a quick one. So this is the business section. So again, to conclude on the cake section, so I'll recommend this, use this as your kind of an album thing. And you can, this is your customer view effectively, and this is your view, list view. So this is, don't show this to your customers. This is your cost price, but then you can quickly do this and show them whatever you've done. So last but not least is the business section. So in business section, you have to-do lists, contacts, and orders all in one place. And of course, business expense. Like the, for example, business expense is like cost of a subscription, anything else like gas, whatever, advertising, even the course you're doing if you want to add it. Business income is anything which you're doing by non-baking earnings. Like if you're teaching a class, that's a business income. If you want to, just for completeness. We don't have accounting systems in place because there are so many, it's completely a different field. So we didn't want it to include there, but we do have insights. So say you want to see, currently you'll have no orders because I didn't create any, but if you see, okay, how did I do this month? Like these 3 days, very simple terms, money out, money in, hours worked, outstanding orders. Too simplistic, right? You can drill down. Where did my money go? Kitchen stock expense this much. Okay, maybe I should change my ingredient supplier. I'm spending too much on ingredients. Then you can compare it with last month. I don't have last month data, but for example, if you had, you can compare it like say, look, how did I do from June 1 to whatever? Then you can say, okay, right. This month also I spent this much. Okay, this is increasing. Then same with, if you're tracking wastages, it will show you, oh, I'm wasting too much ingredients, right? Maybe I should reduce wastage. Then money in, how are you earning your money? pretty powerful, right? You can analyze. This is just by using the software. This is, you don't have to do anything to get it. So how to actually use it? Like say, okay, setup charged, hours worked. So let's take a practical example. Consultation income, 0. Okay, bad. Consultation time, where is consultation time? Concept and sketching, for example. Yeah, say this was 20 hours or 100 hours. Okay, so 100 hours for no money. So you can say, clearly there's a problem here, right? You do 100 hours for no money. So just figure out ways to either increase this or most probably how to reduce this. And this is the dreaded actual earnings per hour worked. People hate us for it. Well, I'm not joking. People literally hate us for it. Like saying this is too real. But we said, yep, we should get real. This is actual earning per hour worked. Money in minus money out divided by the hour worked. If this is not what you think it should be, then you must, do something here. So this is like your barometer. And this is pretty cool, we think, because this like boils down to one place you can check out your whole business health. Okay, last but not least, so you can actually have contacts, you can have all your contacts, like you can add customer, supplier, florist, even wedding cake venues, everything. Yep. Quotes and orders, I'll cover. Tasks. Tasks are, by the way, related to contacts and orders as well, and insights I showed. So let's come back to quotes and orders. So why quotes and orders? Because till you see any money, it's just a quote, right? Once you have confirmed like a deposit or a full payment, then you have an order. So let's do a new order. So this is where you'll practically spend most of your time. Any existing customer? No. Okay, let's add a new one. Let's add myself. Okay, you don't need to add all the information, right? You can just add as simple as you want. So these are the custom fields that I think someone added from Lambert. So this you can add custom fields as well, which is quite useful. I'm sure they'll explain what it stands for. You can add your own address, the customer's address, and let's write a postcode. This is a London postcode. Well, let's do, okay. Type of occasion, what is the occasion, what's the date and time. So the software, you can see actually when you log in back, you'll see a calendar. It will show you everything. So like currently, of course, it's blank because it's an empty account, but you'll show like, you'll see where is the occasion. So if the anniversary is coming up, you'll see it in your calendar. So you might just gently nudge them, right? Saying, you know what, last year you ordered, you want to order again for your birthday or whatever, marriage anniversary, things like that. It's quite useful. I think you'll get around 20 to 30% repeat business because of just this feature. You can add consultation details. You want to charge for it? Yes, no. You can add florist details or nothing. You don't need to enter all that. You can keep it simple. So the products that we created, so as you can appreciate, this is kind of like Lego, right? You do one thing, then you do other thing, then you do other thing. Right now we're just putting like, finishing stuff. Our house is already made here. So now we're just doing finer things. All these cakes that we created, so let's say this one. Wow, nice. This is the product. This is the cost. Add message on the cake. Yes, no, equipment for hire. Of course, either you'll deliver or they'll collect. Same as order address. So now see, this is the beauty of it. This is your zip code, yeah, which you wrote in settings. This is the customer zip code. This is the actual distance, like from Google Maps. This is your cost per mile. So this is So you can say, how the hell are you charging me $26? Well, we charge $2 per mile, and by road, by Google Maps, it's 13 miles roughly. So well, we can give you a discount, $20, something like that. So at least it's fair, right? Otherwise, let me charge X, which is kind of not cool, right? You can have quote notes. So this is like shared with customer, or not caps. Yep, and personal notes. This is of course not visible to your customers. This is visible to your customer. You can add your profit percentage. So this profit percentage is coming from your settings. This you can change per order, but this is like default. Say this is like, I want more profit, like 30%. This is not visible to your customer. Discount, of course it is. So it's still like 30 minus 10 is again 20, but this nice way of doing 20% profit. Tax, whatever, total cost. So now this is quite important. All that we have, if you forget everything that I've said throughout whatever 1.5 hours, just remember this. Again, this is again, we focus on the benefits. So this is again, by the looks of it, it just shows you the total cost. But if you just take a step back, what is the total quote cost? Well, it's based on your profit percentage, how much discount you want to give, how much you want to charge for delivery, and the price you bought for payment, the price per hour labor cost that you want to charge. So it's quite customized to how you want it, right? So this is quite close to what you want to sell it for, practically. But we are all already governed by the realities of the business or the environment we operate in. So say there's no way they're going to pay $685 for this. The maximum I can charge is, say, let's say 550. Okay, 550. You can override it. So now here's the thing. It's so simple. Over the time, you will develop like a muscle memory of saying, you know what? Whenever I deliver to this postcode or zip code, or whenever I do a birthday cake, for example, I always find myself going below the recommended price. Yeah. So that is bad. Simple. But let's take the positive case. So whenever I deliver to this postcode, or whenever I do wedding cakes, so you'll develop a muscle memory, like by doing lots of orders, right? I'm able to charge more, which is good. So then, like the logic states, why don't you focus on whatever is working here and try to replicate it so that you earn even more than 20% profit, right? So just being aware of this particular place, whether you have to reduce it or increase it or decrease it, you are actually able to just fine tune your business. And it's amazingly powerful. That's how people use it most of the times. Next is this comes your logo, and your business details are not added, but here your business details from the settings, and is the name of the product. And of course you don't want to give your trade secrets here, so you can just say whatever you want. Yeah, you can override it. This is again visible here, and this is just whatever you want to write, right? Just a note to the customer. This is not included in the code, of course. And so it's quite transparent if you think, if you look at it, right? So if you have everything, delivery cost, everything's so transparent. This is what I'm expecting from you. So you can email the quote, yeah, or start quote without email. Let's email the quote. So sam@bakingit.com. What do you want to include? I want to include 3D cake, business terms, watermark, equipment hire. So this text, this one is coming from the settings. It's saving you a lot of time, right? Just don't need to type all this. This again is auto-generated. So you basically didn't have to type anything. Of course, you can modify whatever you want, but you didn't have to type. And we had taken actually pains to, change all this. So say, for example, you're not including the cake, please notice the text. Even to that extent, we've tried to, save time. Email code. So now what it's doing is taking all your terms and conditions, cakes, everything, generating a PDF, and then sending an email to myself, which I must have received. So that the quote is started. So this is the order status. So it looks complicated, but at one time it just follows one path, right? Everything starts with sending quote. Either you want full payment or deposit, or then you can wait for balance, then either cancel, and of course, final goal is order completed. Yep. So at one time when the quote is started, of course, you can't just deliver the order, right? Because that's not how it happens in real life. Because you said you want a deposit, it's just awaited deposit payment, or you can cancel the quote. Okay, let's say quote accepted, awaiting deposit payment, because the customer confirmed in the email or something. Okay, then you say, okay, next action is order placed, awaiting balance payment. That means you must have received the deposit. So you just have to go to the next step. So you've got your awaiting balance payment. So now you can see order history. When did the quote start? Like by going here, history. When did the quote start? When were you sent the original quote? Of course, this is a demo, so I'm just doing everything today. But imagine this in the real life scenario. This is going back weeks or days. You don't remember every little order. When did you send everything? But you have your whole trail here. How is it useful? Well, should I send an email to chase up? Can I have my balance? Let me see. Well, I did accept it on the 3rd. Okay, maybe it's too soon. Or the other case, yeah, it's been a while. It's polite to send now. So let's say email. Okay, deposit. So this is only show you the options which are relevant to you. So because you're asking for balance, the order is, the status is awaiting balance payment, right? So it will only show you those relevant options. So the deposit received, thank you, or balance request. So, okay, so you have all this. This again, email is coming from your from your settings. And again, you can do that, send you. You can add your payment link. See, it's quite cool. So you just write it once, because you might make a typo and everything, right? So you say, oh, I didn't get the right link, I can't pay, those kind of things. So, but these kind of takes care of all that. Subject and all is, everything is taken care of. So you just send these, and yeah, you keep on progressing like this. Only thing which is not digital is this forms, which is very useful actually. So what you say is like, when you're actually, this is an acknowledgement form. It's pretty useful. We highly recommend you use it. Most probably you will need it like 1 in 100 times, but it will be really, really useful then. So what if you deliver a cake and you just went off and somebody dropped it? And you said, you know what, I delivered it well. And they'll say, no, you didn't. Yes, you did. So then who wins, right? But nobody will have problem signing this up, signing this. So when you're delivering or they collect, you say, okay, do you mind signing this? Okay, I acknowledge the receipt is in good condition, blah, 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 done. You're sorted. Just keep it in your records. Hopefully you never need it. This is pretty useful. So this you can do it for each order. You can just download. Simple. Print it off, get it signed, file it. That's it from me. Yeah, this is the demo we are doing. But if you have any other questions later, you can actually contact us here. This is my account, so but you can search for articles here. You can send us a message. That's it. Any questions? Anything else at all?
No, it's awesome.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Yeah, as I said, like, it will take you few days to get the hang of it. I see you guys have a lot of data already entered, and which might be pretty useful as well. But there's one feature maybe you might not want to use it, but it's there. So say you want to say, you know what, I want to restart. So you can just say here, reset software. This is like all of it, right? So please use it with caution. And it's this we can't recover because you explicitly deleted it. But it's there. And the help is here, and oh, one more thing. This thing, calculator. So calculators, you can't store anything, right? So this is just, so say if you want to practice cake designing, so you can just use this. You can do everything, but not save it. That's it. You have other simple calculators. This is some simple things, right? Just cake flavor picker, just playing around with. This is quite useful as well. Icing calculators. Simple things. Recipe tin converters. So anything that you want quick help with, you can do this. Most useful is, of course, cake canvas, which you can't save, but you can design. This is here. Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay, sure. I'll send the cake designer the external demo video. I'll send the link. And,
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
That'd be excellent.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Sam. We appreciate your time.
No worries. My pleasure. Thank you.
You know,
Yeah, that was
it does a
awesome.
lot of stuff.
It does a lot of stuff.
It does. Like it saves a lot of time.
Yes, once you get everything in.
Yeah.
So now that you've gone through your demo, guess what your project for your